Hello everyone, Q here, still aiming to be the most boring candidate of this election. Now I'm not going to talk so much about political issues that much, more about attitudes. If I want to try to find a little red line here somewhere going on, it will probably be that when we have a wonderful university here in Tampere, but it should not be the monopoly of knowledge. It should be a part of knowledge, part of society. And this is a small little attitude thing. Are they the knowledge or are they a part, maybe even a huge big part of knowledge? This is quite important, I feel. Now, I'm going to try to open up my thinking around here a little bit. Now, myself, I dropped out of high school, Lukio. The attitudes there were very bad. I felt like I was in danger every day. It was a very, very bad place for me. If I hadn't left when I did, I probably wouldn't have ended up very good. But I ended up learning on my own. I ended up taking a job, another job, running companies and so on. And, I think it ended up pretty well. Now, most people who are school dropouts like me, they are in a little bit of a tough situation, but the attitudes have gotten harsher and harsher over the years. A politician, I'm not going to name the person or the party, spoke recently in an interview a little bit like that. If you don't have higher education, you're a nobody. You cannot do anything in tomorrow's society. This is harsh. 10 years ago, it was saying that if you don't have higher education, you're going to have a tough time finding a job. It's getting harsher and harsher, but it's the same thing as with immigration. If you start pointing, these people are the problem, then the people are going to be even further from fixing the situation. If you just point at people and say, you're a problem, the person does not have a lot of motivation to change anything. So we have to remember that people might not have higher education, but they might have great skills. And these skills need to be valued, and there's place for them. Of course, a person might be in that situation that they don't have higher education and they would actually need it. Of course, we should assist these people and let them get the education that they need to go on with their lives and do what they feel they can do best. There are many solutions, and I just think it's really important to understand that there are many ways to the goal, not just one ultimate answer. Okay, I'm wearing a picture of a guy who's supposed to be the ultimate answer, but I am known for a little bit of comedy every now and again. All right, let's get back to the point. Now look at the universities here. Now, university is based on the scientific method. Now, all across the world, there are cases when something that the university is teaching or some content of some class or whatever is being questioned, challenged. Now, I'm talking about the more professional questions and challenges, not the you horrible people burn and you're teaching. Okay, actually, I'm not going to even try to quote anyone. Basically, that's if there's criticism that is voiced properly. Now, very often, this kind of criticism is being answered by saying you cannot ask that, it's going directly accusing the person placing the criticism instead of the message of the criticism. Or they might just toss, no, this is an axiom. This is how it's got to be. This is what it must be. That's wrong. And when we have this monopoly of knowledge that we give to universities in speeches like the political speech I mentioned a little bit earlier, the problem is that we remove critical thinking from universities. We remove critical thinking from universities, we make the universities dumber. Now, when someone puts like real criticism against something the university is teaching, there are two ways it could go, okay? Person giving the criticism makes out a point and they study it, they turn it over and look, see, okay, what does the science say? What are the numbers? What are the facts? What are the viewpoints? And then they find out that this person with the criticism was right. Okay, the university did make a mistake. That's great news for the university because that means now they know something else. They have more to teach, more to study. They've gone further and it's a win for them. Now, on the other hand, if the university's original viewpoint is found to be standing on solid ground and the criticism is incorrect, the university wins again because now what they're teaching stands on much firmer basis. It's again been proven one more time. These are both wins. The only way to lose is by not handling the criticism. And that's my greatest worry. And that's the kind of attitude I want to keep there. Keep the discussion always open and understand that universities and other places of science work best when they can be challenged and when they love the challenge, because that's how we learn. Now, outside of universities, there are also other cases where I think like the how should I word this? Like when we have any kind of institutions that have like a thought monopoly in some process in how our attitudes, it's problematic. I'm naming political parties. Now, I actually know a little bit about small political parties. Actually, I think I know quite a lot. I am a member of a larger political party at this time. I have been for over 5 years. But the thing is that political parties are not the ultimate way to change things. They are the most popular way, the most common way, probably the easiest way to change things, but they are not the only way. Legally, this is, of course, true already, but in attitudes, we often don't remember it. We should remember that we have a lot of these very tiny parties that are founded, and very few have ever gained any kind of actual power. And right now there is one tiny party in the parliament that's mostly, well, we know it's mostly a Russian interests party. But we've had a lot of them in the history, but because founding them is, while it's hard work, it's doable. It means a lot of people with a lot of opinions have found a way to express themselves democratically. If we wouldn't have had those, maybe they would have expressed themselves in some other not so good way. Maybe they would have just grumbled on and on about it. They wouldn't felt like they had a chance to do something with society. Small parties, of course, are one way, but even beyond that, there is a possibility of getting into an election independently. We don't often very much look at this and value this, even though it's wonderful. You don't always need the process of founding a party, operating a party, because it's a lot of work and sometimes unnecessary if you're just trying to make a smaller point. We need to understand that there are other ways into democracy and we should value them. Now, when people gather those 50,000 names needed to take an issue into parliament, there are a lot of talks about, oh, well, we really shouldn't have this. Maybe we should be harder to voice people's opinions. But no, I think it should be even perhaps a little bit easier. Because when we make democracy accessible and we eliminate these thought monopolies, we're doing a good favor for us, because the parliament should be strong enough to handle criticism, just like the university. Any great institutions that claim to work with knowledge and wisdom, they need to be open to criticism. And one way to make sure of that is to make sure that we understand that they do not have a monopoly in knowledge. Of course, our parliament has pretty important, it's one of the three pillars of power, and I'm not saying we take that power away and give it to someone else, but they are not the ultimate house of wisdom. They are one key element in our system, as universities are wonderful places of knowledge and study and science, but not the only and ultimate one. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Why? Well, I might toss a few words about that here in the end. Now, when we select a city council for Tampere, we know about a few cases that we're going to be processing, and I've tossed thoughts about some of those things, but we also have a lot of things coming up. We don't know right now. We don't know exactly the decisions we're going to make in the next 4 years. So I find it good to tell how I arrive at decisions and what kind of values and thoughts I have all around. I look forward to, for example, reading what professionals at the university say about upcoming matters, and I will know that they're a key part of knowledge. But I also know that someone else might also have a point, and the university, while probably doing a wonderful job and certainly worthy of my tax money, someone might challenge them and just find out about the emperor's new cloak. Well, that's what I had in mind for today. And with that in mind, happy spring and summertime. Bye-bye.